Welcome to the new Student Organization Information session. This presentation is required for students looking to start a new organization on the Tempe campus. You will need to have one of your officers complete this training before you submit your registration. While only one officer will be required to complete it, please make sure to share the information with your other officers. In this video, we will be covering what you need to start an organization, how to submit your application for a new organization, and what resources are available once you are registered as a student organization. Along with this video, you will have access to other resources in the Canvas course. You can download a copy of this presentation, which will include links. You will find a document that lists important links needed for student organizations on one page. You will also find some optional videos that cover additional topics to managing your organization. After this video, you will need to take the quiz in order to complete the course. You need to receive a score of at least 6 out of 7 in order to pass. You'll have 2 attempts to take the quiz. If you do not pass after the second attempt, you can email us at tempeclubs@asu.edu and we will reset that for you. So let's get started with the things that you need. You will need 3 officers, 1 primary advisor, and an organization constitution to begin the registration process. For your officers, they must all be enrolled as ASU students. During the registration process, you will label them Officers 1, Officer 2, and Officer 3. After the registration process is complete, you will be able to update these titles to whatever you would like them to be. When registering, you will want to make sure you have this information for each of your officers. You will need their full name, ASU email address. Please use the email that is the ASU Write at asu.edu. You'll also need to input their ASU Write username and their phone number. Next, you will need a primary advisor. Advisors can be faculty or staff members that meet the qualifications. Faculty members must have 2 years of experience at ASU, and they must hold one of these positions. A faculty member with the title of instructor would not be qualified as a primary advisor, but they may serve as a secondary advisor to your club along with the primary advisor. Staff members consist of various positions at the university that work to support students. We require that primary advisors are staff members that have 3 years of experience working to support or advise students in some way. There are many roles that might qualify as a staff member, and if you aren't sure if your advisor is qualified, feel free to contact us. You will need the same information for your advisor as you did for the officers, but you will also need the official ASU title. You can find this by searching their name on iSearch or by asking them directly. Please make sure that you get the correct ASU Write username for your advisor. This is needed to properly add your advisor into our system, so if you don't know the username, make sure that you double check with them. A question we often get is, what does an advisor do? Your advisor should be present for your organization as much as possible. We expect that advisors are actively engaging with the student organization. If your organization is hosting a large-scale event that would require a special events registry, your advisor will need to be present at the event. You can find out more information about what qualifies for a special event registry on the links in Canvas. Advisors need to be present at events to make sure that all policies are being followed correctly and to provide supports to students during these large events. Your advisor should be a guide to you in navigating the university. They can serve as a resource and help in understanding policies and procedures. Your advisor may also be someone with knowledge in a specific field of interest for your organization. Advisors will be able to pass on this knowledge and mentor students who are interested in similar things. Finally, your advisor should support and empower you. It's important to have open communication with your advisor. They should understand your organization's goals and be able to provide the support you need to achieve them. You will be required to upload a constitution during the registration process. There is a template that is available on the Canvas page that you can use to guide you in writing your own constitution. You can also make changes and adjustments to your constitution as your organization grows. One thing that is required is the non-discrimination statement, which is listed throughout the registration process and is also included in the template. Other than that, you should think about adding things about your mission of your organization, what you will require from members, how you will elect officers, and what your meetings might look like. ASU is a comprehensive public research university, measured not by whom it excludes, but by whom it includes and how they succeed, advancing research and discovery of public value and assuming fundamental responsibility for the economic, social, cultural, and overall health of the communities it serves. This is the ASU Charter, and during the registration process, you will be asked about how your organization aligns with the Charter. Make sure to put care into answering this question. It's something that is available for public view of all organizations. Think about the mission of your organization and how that connects to the vision of ASU. We commonly get answers like, we allow all people to join and stuff like that, but we're really asking you to think more specifically about the purpose of your organization and how it fits into the ASU community. Before you submit your registration, I also want to mention a few things about branding. ASU student organizations cannot use ASU at the beginning of their name. ASU or Arizona State University may be used as a geographical designation only. You may use other ASU terms like Sun Devils or Sparky, but if you are using the actual school name, it can only be listed at the end, such as in this example, the Chess Club at ASU. Once you are registered as a student organization, you can use the trademarked image of Sparky or the Sparky pitchfork. You may not edit this image to add additional imagery, like you couldn't make Sparky holding a baseball bat instead of a pitchfork. You can also use this pitchfork hand sign in different colors. Other ASU logos are not authorized to be used by student organizations. These logos are intended for different entities of the university. So now that you're all set to register your organization, let's hop into Sun Devil Sync so I can show you how to start your submission and go over common mistakes that we see when submitting an organization. To start out, we're going to go to Sun Devil Sync at sundevilsync.asu.edu. On the home page, you're going to click up on organizations, and then you'll do register an organization, and then finally register a new organization. You'll want to make sure you select the ASU Tempe branch. And then this first page is just going to be instructions. There's 14 pages total, and there's some pages where you have to fill out information and some that just have some of the information to make sure that students are aware of the policy. So a lot of this you'll already be familiar with, but the non-discrimination statement is there as well. So on the third page is where you're going to start filling out the bulk of the information about your organization. So you're going to have your organization name and all of kind of that basic information. The organization description summary is going to be just a quick little intro to your organization. When students are searching by organization, there's like a little text that will be next to it. So that's the information that will be there. So you don't want it to be too long, just something short and to the point. The organization description below that is going to be what's on your main page of your organization on Sun Devil Sync. So you will want to provide some more details there. If there's a Slack or Discord or anything a student could join to get involved, you can list that there. If you have a specific time that you know you're going to be meeting, you can put that in there. And also, if you do have a YouTube or Vimeo video that you've created to introduce your club, you can actually embed that right in there by just putting in the link. So it's another really great option. The next one is something that throws off students all the time, so I just want to make sure to highlight it. The website, it's not actually asking you for like an external website for this first one that's required. It's just asking what you want your URL to be on Sun Devil Sync. So it shows at the bottom what it will look like, and then what's after the slash is what you would be entering there. And then next, a lot of these sections you don't have to fill out right now if you don't have the information. If you haven't created a website or a Twitter or Instagram or whatever it is that you might create, you can just leave those all blank and you'll be able to go back and edit later. So the next part is the additional information. So this is the part that you will fill out that ASU Charter question. So just make sure that you answer that well, answer it in full sentences, and just be intentional with it. The other questions are pretty straightforward. I would say for the email addresses that you include on this page, just be aware that these will be public. So whatever email addresses you put, make sure that you're checking those, because if students are interested in learning about your club, or if outside people are interested in learning something about your club, they'll reach out to those email addresses most likely. The next section, you can upload a picture. If you don't have one, again, you can go back and do it another time. And then this next section is really just us gathering some information about our clubs on campus. We recognize that you're a new club, so you might not have a lot of this information ready yet. You might not have a lot of active members, and that's okay. We'll actually be asking you to refill this out once a year during the re-registration process, so you'll be able to update it at that time, but it's really just for our knowledge and understanding of what our clubs are doing on campus. Next, we will have the parts where you're putting in the officers. This part might get a little bit repetitive, so just make sure that you have that key information that you need for your officers and for your advisor ready, and you'll be able to just go through it really quickly. So make sure that you are putting in your officers ASU right. The way that SnivelSync works, it uses your ASU right as your username, and that's how it inputs people into the club. So it's just really important that we have that information. In the next section, you're going to see that you have to put in the information again, and they're going to ask you for the email address. You want to use the email address that is the student's ASU right at asu.edu. That way, it will make sure to pull that information from the username and put the student directly in the club. Just so you know, a student won't automatically be added to the club. Only the person filling out the registration will be added. Everyone else will get an invite to add themselves to the club, but just be aware that they will need to accept that invite. The next section, you're going to be entering the same information about your advisor, so it's the same information that you had for your officers. Make sure that you are adding that ASU job title as well. If you do have more than one advisor, you can select yes here, and then it will provide you with the same form to fill out about your second advisor. So next we're going to go into the Constitution, so you're just going to upload the file for your Constitution. And then the last thing that you're going to have to do is if you have any interest in any of our cultural and identity student organizations, you can express that there, and they'll reach out to you about more information how to get involved with the coalitions. And then you'll just submit. So once you submit, we'll be reviewing your registration, and if we do notice that anything needs to be edited or add a little more information, you might get a denial. So if you get a denial, you'll get an email, and it will ask you to edit the submission. So you'll just be able to edit that really quickly. You don't have to redo the whole form or anything. So that's basically everything you need to know. Once you are approved, you'll get a message letting you know that you are approved, and then we'll move on to the advisor section as well. Your advisor will need to complete a registration form that just confirms their position at the university and that they have agreed to be your advisor. They will also need to complete our advisor training, which is available on Canvas. There will be a 2-week period for your advisor to complete this. We don't typically reach out to you when this is completed, so if you don't hear anything from us, that's fine. But we will reach out to you if within 2 weeks we don't see that completed, and we will email both you and your advisor about it. Yay, your registration is complete. You'll now have access to all the benefits and resources of being a student organization on campus. Here are some things you'll want to make sure you know as a new organization on campus. The Student Code of Conduct applies to all student organization and applies to students when they are participating in student organization activities. This means that if your organization is participating in activities off campus or over breaks, the Student Code of Conduct still applies to you as if you are on campus. Make sure that you understand the Student Code of Conduct so that you can be sure to avoid making any violations. I have an additional video that will dive deeper into the Code of Conduct and some common mistakes clubs could make. Arizona State University does not allow hazing in any way in student organizations. This means that whether you are on campus, off campus, online, whatever you may be participating in as an organization, there should be no activity that can be seen as hazing with new members. As an organization, you will be able to make free reservations in some locations on campus. The Memorial Union and Student Pavilion have many different types of locations that you can book. There are large ballrooms, outdoor tabling locations, smaller meeting rooms, conference rooms, whatever it is you might need. The links will be available for how you can request spaces in the copy of this presentation and in the links document. Please be aware that any food or drink must be through ASU dining if you are at one of these locations, unless you get approved for an exception form. The only other exception is if there are prepackaged candy in outdoor tabling locations, which is allowed. If you have any questions about your reservation, or if you're looking to talk a little bit more about what's allowed in different spaces, you can reach out to MU Reservations at asu.edu and they'll be happy to help you. As a student organization, you are also able to reserve spaces in the SDFC or in classrooms. The SDFC offers a variety of types of spaces and has more flexibility with food vendors that are allowed in the spaces. You can book online and the link will be available in our materials. Classrooms can be booked across all campuses by emailing rooms@asu.edu. You can let them know what kind of space you're looking for, what days of the week, and all of that. Usually, classrooms are booked on a semester basis, so you could have the same room every Monday night for your meetings. Food and drinks are not permitted in classrooms. We will also keep an updated list of all the locations on campus that we're aware of that allow student organizations to book in the Canvas page, but just be aware that not all of these spaces are free. Some of them might have fees attached to them. Student organizations often utilize ASU dining as a catering option. There's a student organization catering menu, which does offer discounted prices for student groups. ASU Catering is also super flexible and they can make custom menus for you depending on the budget that you have and the needs that you have for your event. You can email them at asukatering@gmail.com to begin the process of creating a menu for your event. PAB production is available for student organizations hosting events with audio and visual needs. This can include music, video, lighting, and more. Check out their website for more information or email pabproductions@asu.edu. PAB also has an account with Swank, which is a company that sells rights to screen movies. If you are interested in screening a movie for an event, you will need to make a request through PAB's form. You can view the different options and prices for films on Swank's website, and everything will be linked on Canvas. So now that you know a little bit about the resources you may need for event planning, let's talk about how you'll pay for it. Is your organization primarily undergraduate students? If so, your funding will come from the Undergraduate Student Government, or USG. USG offers two types of funding. The first is general funding, which is available at the beginning of every semester. New organizations may be able to apply for funding if you're registered after the deadline for general funding. Just check out their website and they'll have information on how to do that there. General funding covers up to $600 for items you will need to operate your organization for the semester. This could include marketing items, t-shirts, anything your organization would use throughout the semester and not just at one specific event. You will need to complete a separate training offered by USG that's linked on our Canvas before you can apply for funding. USG also offers event funding. For event funding, you need to apply at least 3 weeks before your event in order to get approved for funding. I would recommend applying as soon as possible so that you can make sure you have all of your approvals before you need to start making purchases. There is no exact limit on the amount that you can request, so think creatively and dream big. You will need to prepare a budget of how you'll be spending the money before you submit. You should give quotes from different vendors, different catering, and be as specific as possible in your request. I cannot stress enough that you need to start preparing as early as possible for planning events. What if your organization is primarily graduate students? The Graduate and Professional Student Association provides funding for clubs that are hosting events focused on graduate students. You can receive up to $2,000 for your event. GPSA requires that all submissions are made by the first of the month before your event. So if you are having an event on September 25th, your submission would need to be in by August 1st. There is not a required training for GPSA, but they do have a detailed outline of the process on their website. If you are a group with both undergraduate and graduate students, GPSA will provide funding if there is justification that the event is specifically beneficial to graduate students. A lot of clubs raise funds outside of the funding provided through student government. This may be from membership dues, fundraising, sponsorships, or grants. We do offer an additional training that does talk about how to find these opportunities and how to handle this additional money. You may be wondering, should you open a bank account for your organization? Well, will you only be utilizing USG or GPSA funding and not requiring any dues or looking for any sponsorships or outside funding? Then you don't really need to open a bank account. When working with GPSA and USG, they'll never directly give you the money in any account. They'll simply pay for the purchases that you're making. However, if you are bringing in additional funding, you'll probably want to look into getting a bank account. Bringing in a large amount of money into your personal bank account may get kind of complicated and mess with your own personal finances, and we don't really want to mess with that. If you are looking to open a bank account, you'll need to apply for an EIN through the IRS. There will be all the links in this Canvas page to walk you through this, but for applying for an EIN is a way to recognize your organization as its own organization and not just an individual person. With an EIN, you can then apply for a business bank account. You will likely need 2 signers for this account. We do recommend, if possible, to use your advisor as one of the signers, just because they are more likely to be involved with the organization for several years, where students tend to graduate after so many years. You may also need some sort of documentation for your organization, which could be your constitution. You can open an account with any bank, but we always recommend using MidFirst. It's very easy to access since they're on campus and they already work with the majority of our organizations, so they're used to working with student clubs. Please be aware that the responsibility of your bank account is entirely on your organization. We will not ask for information on your bank account or hold any responsibility over your account. You will need to make sure that you're keeping up to date with the account at all times. Finally, let's talk about how you can elevate and grow your organization. Our Distinguished Student Organization Program is a point-based system where organizations can gain points by participating in different events and workshops on campus. If you earn enough points, you will be designated as a DSO and have different rewards available to you, such as branded marketing materials or t-shirts. You will also have special access for events for student organizations the following year that we'll reach out to you about. Our office does have some materials that any organization can use. We have a button maker and we allow organizations to make about 100 buttons per semester. We also have poster boards, trifold boards, and different decorating supplies. You can use these supplies in our office or check them out from us, and we'll be on the 3rd floor of the Memorial Union. For more information about what we have, or if you want to make an appointment to stop by, you can email us at tempeclubs@asu.edu. Each organization has a staff liaison that works with our office. You can find out who that person is by going to your page and looking at the officer section. If you can't find it, you can also email us and we'll get you connected to the right person. Any of our staff would be able to help you at any time if you come by our office, but this is just so that you have someone you can directly get in touch with if you're not sure who to contact. Our staff can help you out with event planning, resolving any interpersonal conflicts, navigating resources, marketing and branding. And if you have any ideas or questions or just things that you want to talk through, we're there to help you and support you. Throughout the year, there are typically some major events that student organizations are encouraged to participate in. At the start of the fall semester, there's Welcome Week, which features Passport to ASU and other opportunities to recruit new members. Homecoming and athletic events offer opportunities for students to get involved and show their ASU spirit. Throughout the fall and spring semesters, we'll host various involvement fairs and tabling opportunities for student orgs. In the spring, Sun Devils Unite is a great opportunity to join the university's mission of supporting the local community through philanthropy. And towards the end of the year, Change the World and Pitchfork Awards highlight all of the amazing things that student organizations are achieving to make an impact in our communities. We send out a weekly newsletter that has different opportunities for involvement and resources for your organization, so you'll be able to find information about how to get signed up and how to be involved in those in our newsletters. Anyone who is listed as an officer position will receive these newsletters, and we'll talk about how to make sure everybody's listed as an officer when we jump into Sun Devil Sync soon. We do offer different workshops to help build your knowledge and skills as leaders. We also offer some additional trainings in an online format. You can find the most up-to-date schedule and links to our online trainings at links.asu.edu/studentorg-workshops. Now we'll jump into Sun Devil Sync so I can show you some of the basic tools that will help you keep your page up to date. So the first thing you'll need to do is know how to get to your organization's page. So when you log on to Sun Devil Sync, there should be a section that says memberships and should have any clubs that you're a member of. So you should be able to find your club there. You can also click on your profile up in the upper right-hand corner and click memberships. You could also just search for the organization. If you're a member of a lot of organizations and you can't find it right away, you can just search for the organization to get to the page. So once you're on the page, you can see the Explorer view, which is what any student would see when they are looking for a club to join. So they would see the description, the additional information section, any events that are coming up, and information on the officers for the clubs. Since you will be an officer for the organization, you'll have the Manage view. So up at the top, you'll be able to click Manage Organization. So here you'll be going to your first page. If you do need to register your organization, it will be there. If there's any upcoming involvement fairs, you can sign up for them there as well. Then you can click on these 3 horizontal lines to open up the menu. The first tool we're going to look at is the roster. So on the roster, you'll be able to see the members of your organization, and you'll also be able to create positions and put people into officer positions or membership positions. So to create positions, we're going to go to Manage Positions. So you can see all of the positions that your organization currently has. You can create a position and you can name it whatever it is that you want. If you do want it to be an officer, you'll make sure that it says officer, and then you will just make sure that they have all access. When we go back to Manage Positions, you can see that you can also edit titles. So we automatically make all clubs have an Officer 1, Officer 2, and Officer 3. But say you don't want to be called Officer 1, you want it to be President, you can actually just go in and edit the title of the officer position, and that works just as well as adding additional positions. Once you go back to the roster, you can see everybody that's in your organization, and you can just click on this pencil tool, and that will allow you to add positions to the members. Up above the roster, you can see that there's also pending and prospective members. So pending is going to be people that you might have invited to join that haven't accepted yet, and prospective is going to be people who have requested to join. So you'll just want to make sure you go in and check that every so often to approve or deny anybody who's requesting to join your organization. And then something that will be important is knowing how to invite people to your organization. So to invite people, you'll just click on Invite People up at the top, and you'll want to put in their email address. Again, I would recommend using their asuright@asu.edu, but that is usually the address that will connect to their account. So you'll want to select that, and then if you are putting a member in as an officer, so if you're adding somebody who is going to be an officer, you can actually just put that position right there, and then when they're added, they will automatically be in it. So that's the roster tool. Next, we're going to look at the About tool. So we're going to go back to our menu and go to About. So this is where you can edit a lot of the information that you did during the registration process. So if you did come up with a Facebook page or something that you want to add, you can edit that there. So that's basically the 2 main tools you'll be using. Another big one that people do use is the events, so I would recommend checking that out. We do have another video that does talk about events specifically, so feel free to check that out if you are going to be planning some events and need that RSVP feature. That's the basics of Sun Devil Sync. Thank you so much for attending this training. We do want to make sure that you have contact information for our office. You can email us, call us, or stop by our office located on the 3rd floor of the Memorial Union. Also, follow us on social media. We try to share posts from organizations and highlight exciting events that are happening on campus. So if you want us to share your first meeting or any kind of event that you're posting, just tag us in the post that you're making and we'll share it on our story. You can go ahead and take the quiz to complete the training. Again, you'll have 2 attempts to take it, so hopefully you watch the whole video and you don't get any questions wrong.